Now, before I pass the mic to the speaker of the day, a little bit introduction about Prof. Dr. Nur Edzan Cik Nasir. In 1974, registered at ITM Shah Alam for the Diploma in Fisheries course. Then, in 1978, she registered as an undergraduate for her Bachelor of Science with honors at USM Penang, and in 1983, took up the post of Pegawai Takbir at USM Library, obtained a scholarship from AUIDP to do a postgraduate diploma in Information Management at the University of New South Wales, Sydney, Australia in 1984. In 1981, she moved to the Library in Kuala Lumpur, did her Masters of Science in Information Studies at Leeds Metropolitan University, Leeds, UK. She was promoted to an Associate Professor and read for a PhD, graduated in 2007. Retired as the Chief Librarian from the Library on 28 May 2017. Currently, she is the immediate past President, Librarians Association of Malaysia, and the Secretary to IFLA's Regional Standing Committee on Asia and Oceania. So now, without further ado, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Nur Edzan Cik Nasir to the floor.
Assalamualaikum, selamat pagi, good morning. Thank you, IMU. I think this is my second time. I do look forward to coming to this because I love the exhibitions downstairs. Anyway, thank you, Lynn, for the introduction. Just to reiterate, that's my name, Nur Edzan binti Cik Nasir. I became a librarian, a full-fledged librarian in 1983 after I graduated from and I was talking to one of the professors. Apparently one of his colleagues was my lecturer in USM then. In 1999, I took the jump. Again, when people ask me why do I do what I do here, for career development. I wasn't moving anywhere upwards as a librarian because I transferred from USM to So I took the plunge and I became a lecturer at the Faculty of Computer Science and IT, teaching Information Science and Library and Information Science program. And in 2007, the post of the Chief Librarian felt vacant, and I was asked to sit in that position for 2 years, but after 2 years, the Vice Chancellor said stay, so I stayed. And I retired in 2017 as a Chief Librarian, and currently I'm doing work for my association. So this would be something similar to your MMA, but this is our Persatuan Pustakawan Malaysia, Librarians Association of Malaysia. The only difference is that we are not an accredited profession, because we are not legislated. So inshallah, we are working towards legislating. It's not an easy process to get legislation because every time I see the AG or they go to AG's chamber, they tell me that you have to prove to us that in your profession, if you give misinformation, someone will die. Okay, so an element of threat to life should be there if you want to be legislated. Okay, so they were telling me about medicine, about nurse, about accountant, about architect, about engineering, etc., etc. So we are trying our very best to get the profession legislated. And my areas of interest is information literacy, library and information science education. I've got journal publishing, digital repository initiatives, and social media. Most of the things are tied up to technology because as technology advances, we need to move. Okay, I was asked to do this, personalized learning and library's role. I sat through the panel discussion yesterday where you had Dr. Muna, Dr. Kang, and also Hanif, I think, from as the panelists. And they were talking about PL, personalized learning, and IR 4.0. And I came across terms like ED 5.0. I came across so many new terms in technology. And then I sat through Prof. Trudy's talk on MyPal, my personal adaptive learning. It's a system that they have in place at the University of Leeds to actually go into personalized learning for the medical students. Okay, so I sat through those two. And I came out feeling like this, okay? I felt like I was one of the visually handicapped person trying to figure out what the elephant is all about. Because this one has got a lot of connotation. They're talking about adaptive, they're talking about flexible environment, they're talking about technology. They are talking about problem-based learning. They are talking about flipped learning. So as you go through the literature, I found out that there's a lack of consistent definition for personalized learning. Being academics, we are very strong on definition because the definition was set as the premise for our talk or our lecture. So I was looking for a definition that would fit what personalized learning is all about. Yesterday, Prof. Kang was saying it's a convergence of technology, whereby all technology sits at one platform to give access to the students to actually learn at their own pace, at their own time, with materials provided or not provided by the academics, or provided or not provided by themselves. So we are looking at, so within this context, yeah, I use this one, US Department of Education. Why I choose US, not UK, not Australia, not New Zealand? US tend to think out of the box. They don't follow mainstream definition. They think way beyond, and I think they are always at the forefront. They are always coming out with new things, and they dare make a difference, and they dare come out with definition that we can challenge, okay? So they define it, and this is a definition that is in their National Educational Technology Plan, and this is the flagship policy document for educational technology. Why do I choose to pick education? Because to me, learning is within the domain of the educationist, okay? Technologists or computer scientists or IT, they provide the platform. Library science, librarians provide the resources and sources. But the definition, the meaning, the understanding of what education is all about, learning is all about, still remains in the domain of the educationist. So I go by this definition throughout my talk. Personalized learning refers to instruction in which the pace of learning and the instructional approach are optimized for the needs of each learner. Learning objectives, instructional approaches, and instructional content may all vary depending on learners' needs. In addition, learning activities are made available that are meaningful, relevant to learners, driven by their interests and self-initiated. Okay, so the keywords I have highlighted. So it talks about, personalized learning talks about the person learning at their own pace, at their own time, to achieve whatever objectives that has been set up by the university or by their lecturers, okay? And library's role, okay? I guess there are librarians here, so for non-librarians, just bear with us. Try to understand what librarians do. Every time I balik kampung, dulu-dulu, every time when I go back to my kampung and I tell my people, oh, I'm a librarian, so my uncle and my auntie, no offense meant to them, will say, lah, you learn so high, you pergi university everywhere, and you just go and shelf and chop books. So I think that premise still stays. Because I've got my junior librarians, when they go back to their hometown in remote areas, they say, oh, my uncle thinks I just arrange books on the shelf. So librarians don't do that anymore, actually. So the library's role here, in any academic institution, our primary role is this. Any library in any academic institution, we support teaching, learning, and research. It's always a string of this, okay? Teaching, learning, and research. When the university changes its direction, contohnya, because I'm from UM, I will use UM as an example. When we were asked, or when we were named, or the word I like to use to ask, when we were asked to be a research university, our priorities sort of shifted. Research became one of our main primary goals. Teaching and learning was put to the side, okay? Because at that time when we became a research university, we were supposed to have 70% research element in all our curriculum across the board. So we had to do a lot of thinking, and the library had to also do a lot of thinking. And we said, should we adjust our mission vision statement to make research as our first year, and this comes? So the management of the university library decided no. To us, the primary aim of the university is still, you teach your students learn. and research is something that is added on to a discipline, okay? So we have stuck that. So if you're looking at vision, mission statement or objective of most university libraries or any academic institution libraries, you would see this string of words in their mission, vision, and even their objective statement, okay? So when there is a shift in learning style, contoh, example, from classroom setting, we moved into problem-based learning. Then we moved into blended learning. Then we moved, now we are talking about personalized learning. So every time there's a shift in learning style within the academia, the library also needs to shift in their provision of information sources, services, and facilities. Okay, when you look at this area itself, when you're looking at the collaborative learning area outside there, that was, or that is an outcome of when students are saying that we want space to actually do open discussion because our lecturers are now going into problem-based learning and we are having flipped classrooms, we are having blended learning. So I think almost every library, every academic library in Malaysia turn around and we have spaces where actually the library is no longer quiet, it becomes a noisy place for students to actually gather and discuss. So the library has to shift its facilities to accommodate the shift in learning style. So the library has always been very dynamic in that sense, because whatever learning style that is being practiced in the lecture halls, the library has to be on top of it and we have to shift accordingly. Even our provision of services, yeah, we are doing a lot of, students now want 24/7 access to the collection, so we are now doing more or subscribing more to online databases. And I'm not sure about IMU, but in UM itself, we have, when I was there, we have reduced our book, our print allocation tremendously, and it has been channeled towards the acquisition of online databases, which are rather costly, okay? And personalized learning environment. Personalized learning environment, we are talking about, there are three main components. If IMU is going into personalized learning environment, these are the three components that you have to look out. There is a network of people. This would be your lecturers, your academics, your administrators, your librarians, and your students themselves. Then you have your system. Okay? Yesterday, Prof. Trudy talked about MyPal, my personal adaptive learning system. It is a system whereby people use resources for their learning experience. And you have resources. This would be your internet resources, your online resources, your databases, your books, everything. But when we are talking about personalized learning, your resources are now electronic and digital. Okay? So people tend to ask me whenever I give talks, will library go out of fashion? I don't think so, because I think the libraries will adapt accordingly. As you see the adaptation that's been done at IMU, your print collection goes to a certain portion, and the bulk of your space is taken up by seats, and you have subscription to online databases. Now, the library's role. Okay, where does the library stand when we are talking about personalized learning or personalized learning environment? I think there's about 6 or 7 roles there that I could think of. One, okay. The library is in a position to provide students with information literacy skills. Okay. Information literacy skills is a set of skills that the students have to have in order for them to actually understand about information. Yesterday we were listening about students in MyPal. Students were allowed to share information, to share whatever resources that they have, but there's a danger of when you share information that is not verified, that is not authenticated, then there's a danger there. So much so in the medical profession. I think the medical profession, personally, I think is one of the professions that is, to me, that is having what? It's not a problem actually, that has got challenges, okay? people, even me sometimes, even I'm a librarian, I'm not supposed to do this, my discipline tells me not to. If I have some kind of an ailment, for example, I have a bunion on my right feet, I don't go to the doctor to check what are the remedies, what should I do, etc. I will go to the internet. Okay? I will go to the internet and I will do bunion treatment. And you have a list of things that you can do, herbal remedies, etc., 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 etc. Oh, there is a tool, there is a kind of a tool that you can actually buy online and wear it. So yours truly did buy it, no effect. Okay, second, cari lagi, search some more. This one is better. This one you can wear it at night. It won't go off. It won't chafe you. Okay, buy. It doesn't work. So I think the medical profession is being challenged by the fact that on the internet there are so many so-called self-proclaimed medical practitioners. Yeah, you have your herbal remedy. You have your people from home telling you this is what you should do, etc., etc. Then you have companies blasting their products, so much so that when I go and see the doctor, when the doctor tells me what's wrong with you, I will actually, okay, I have the internet says that blah 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 blah. The doctor will look at me in amazement and says, "Wow, you self-diagnosed. So aren't you going to self-treat yourself?" I said, "Self-treatment is with you, not with me. I just self-diagnose myself," which is dangerous. It's very dangerous, actually. I tell myself it's very dangerous, but the tendency to do that is always there. Okay, you have an ailment. Oh, something is wrong with my shoulder, so you quickly Google shoulder pain, and then a list of things come out, a list of symptoms come out, and then you start reading. Oh, this is it, this is it, this is it, and you start going in, which is dangerous, which is very dangerous. So, and this is even more so here, information literate. When your students, when they do personalized learning and they are sharing information, they must know that the information is real and not false information. It has to be authenticated. Because in your profession, you cannot be passing information that is wrong, because you have a legislation that protects your profession. Okay? So an information literate person, by definition, is a person who is able to recognize there is a need for information. Okay, all students know when they want to do a project, they need information, so they know that they need information. Then they are able to locate the information fine. They can go on the net, they can go on the online databases, they can go to whatever source they have, but their first source is always Google. Okay, I can bet you that one when you ask your students in your class, how many of you, what is the first place you go to look for information? It will be Google. One, because Google is user-friendly. The interface is very easy to use. And Google got it right when they're talking about interfaces. Okay. Then you have got, this is the one that concerns all of us. Evaluate. And this one. For personalized learning, your students must be information literate enough to actually evaluate the information that they're going to share with their friends in the same platform, and the information that they're going to use in their writings or their studies. So this is very important. So who is the person, or which entity is best to train the students with information literacy skills? In every academic library setting, it's always the library. The University of Malaysia is it's the only university in Malaysia that makes information skills as a course. The course is known as GIG 1004. I think it's information skills. They teach it in English for the international students. They teach it in Bahasa for the local students. It is a 2-credit university course that the students has to pass before the graduation. It's an exit requirement. If you don't pass your information skills course, you cannot graduate. Okay, so University of Malaysia is the only university that's doing it. We have been, the librarians have been asking other universities to make it compulsory, because that would fulfill your soft skill requirement, yeah, lifelong learning, etc. And it also makes your student information literate. So when the student goes out into the real world, they actually know how to locate, how to evaluate, and how to use the information effectively. Okay. We used to have requests, sorry, I shouldn't be saying this. We used to have requests from students from certain faculties in the university to say that we do not want to do this course, we should be exempted. But university said no. We want you, every student of UM who comes out, you must be able to do this. And our worry was this one and this one. This one, I think the students know. When they are doing the assignment, they know they need information. And they know where to look for it. But this component is the one that we emphasize, evaluate, for currency, for authenticity, for correctness. Because in any profession, false information, when you're giving out false information or when you're referring to false information, is dangerous. Especially for professions where you are legislated, contohnya your architects, the engineers, and you guys, yeah? You must be making sure that your students know how to use, know how to differentiate. In this world, for example, I blog excessively. And in my blog, I can lie, I can write about anything under the sun. Okay, and people might believe me because, oh, she is a lecturer, she was a lecturer at, etc., etc., or she was a chief librarian. So people tend to believe what you say. But even then, you have to take things like this with a pinch of salt. So you must be able to evaluate whether what I'm saying is right or wrong. I can be bluffing the hell out of from everyone who's reading my blog. But then the reader must be able to know that this important component here, you must be able to evaluate, okay? And then use it effectively. How do you use it? How do you use the information that you got? Or you can share, right information you can share, and wrong information you just don't share, you just ignore it, okay? So that is the primary role. So I'm sure IMU has some form of information skills program. Yeah, now making it compulsory, making it accredited course or something like that, one step forward. And in the US, it's called information literacy. In the UK, it's called skills. Okay, as usual, there's a tussle between the two continents, but in essence, it means the same thing. Then the other one is provide information sources, publish, and okay, the library is a warehouse of information. You have your print resources on the other side, and I know for sure that you have got all your electronic resources. So the library is in the best position to provide information sources to the platform where you will be hosting your personalized learning system, okay? So they are in the best position to advise because they are the ones who choose, they know the content, they know the subject coverage, they know the bad and the good side of the particular database that they are subscribing to, and they go to training. All the librarians, when they subscribe to a certain database, they go for training. Training is compulsory. Database provider has to train. And also when they are talking about published resources, yeah, when they catalog the resources and all that, they know the subject domain, okay? Because I think, I do not know whether it's practice. When I was cataloging, I have to read the whole of preface and chapter 1 to get the gist. My boss made sure that I read that so that I give the right subject heading to the book. At that time, I was working in the law library. I've worked in the engineering library, I've worked in the law library, so I am the so-called expert in both fields. Because when we are cataloging books, we do not simply catalog just by looking at the title. We actually read the preface to see the gist of the content, and if it's not readily available, we even venture into chapter 1 and the last chapter, the concluding chapter, to get a feel of the subject, because when we are cataloging books, we need to put the subject heading somewhere in the catalog, so when you guys are searching, it's spot on, okay, you get the right book. So they are in a position to actually advise on the available resources in the library. The next role would be provide access to information sources 24/7. Yesterday they were talking about ubiquitous access. Ubiquitous meaning anytime, anywhere access. I know for sure that subject to the contract that the library draws with the online databases vendors, you do provide 24/7 access, which means that you can stay home in the comfort of your bedroom or your house to actually access all the online databases that the library subscribes to. In UM, we used to open up to our students worldwide. Okay, because our students balik kampung, our international students go back, balik kampung here, balik kampung everywhere. So they say, can the system be open internationally? We did, and then within a week, we were asked by one of the vendors to shut down because someone was printing loads and loads and loads and loads, downloading loads and loads and loads and loads of articles from this remote country somewhere. So now, what we do is, when our lecturer goes on sabbatical overseas, or when our students go back home overseas for their holidays, they come to us and tell us that I will be in UK for 3 months. Can you please open the databases to me for 3 months in UK? So we open it on request to the student's username. We do not flood it open because when we did that, we were caught. People were misusing the system. So our students, our international students, and our lecturers, when they go on sabbatical, they actually do an email request and we open them for the period that they want. Once they are back here, we shut it down. Okay, so 24/7 access is within Malaysia. Okay. Depending on your internet penetration. If your internet is good, your Wi-Fi is good, then you get access. So again, the library provides, the library's role in personalized learning is that they are able to provide access to information sources 24/7. I think the library controls the access from your server room, right? Okay. The next role, they are also the content creator. Because yesterday, if you were at the talk, yesterday, Prof. Trudy was talking about content creation, meaning the students and the lecturers actually create content. Create content meaning you add on to whatever system platform that you have. So in this case, the library or the librarians are content creators. And this instance, we are talking about institutional repositories. You have yours? Okay. IMU has yours. Almost all academic libraries in Malaysia have some form of institutional repositories. We normally use our open software. It's either ePrint or DSpace. I think one system is from the US, MIT, one system is from UK. So depending on where your slant is, UK ke US, you either use DSpace or you use ePrint. I think ePrint is UK and DSpace is MIT US. Both open source has got a very good system of a group of people looking after them. So if you are in doubt, just consult them. So in this instance, the institutional repositories would have your students' publication, your staff publication. In it's mandatory for the academics to actually deposit all their publication subject to copyright allowance into the institutional repository. For your career advancement, if you're applying for a professor, associate professor, or whatever, if your publication is not in the system, then you need to submit it before you can be considered for tenure. Okay, and you have got journal articles. Yeah, the lecturers deposit all their journal articles if they are free of copyright. If they are copyrighted, then they deposit, and we provide a link. So we provide a link, so when the student clicks on the link, then it tells them what are the conditions they can actually look at the article, as long as they deposit the article. And then, all conference papers. Conference papers are not subjected to copyright if they're not published, so the lecturer or the students have to submit one copy to the library, and the library puts it up in the repository. And we also do this final year project papers. But we are a bit careful with this one because we do not want to have our C's and our D's up there as well. So the faculty are very selective when it comes to this one. They will only send us the ones that are the A's and the B's, okay? Because they don't want people to look at that, things that, because when you put all this on in the institutional repository, you do not know which project paper got an A, which project paper got a D, which project paper got a C. So the faculty has requested us not to upload everything, but they actually sent us a select list. So those are the things that we actually uploaded. But for dissertation from masters and thesis from PhD, we upload everything. and it's open access. All institutional repository must be open access. Then people come to us and say, wow, people are downloading our paper like mad. I said, yeah, but they are not downloading because somehow within the system you can create certain parameters whereby it's not downloadable, it's view. Okay, and we have declaration for these two, for these three. We make the students sign a declaration whether they want or they do not want it. Some students do not want it to be embargoed for about 3 months because they are doing on their prototype. After they're graduating, they're doing on their prototype and they are working for their papers. So they normally embargo their thesis for up to 6 months to allow them to produce papers and also to actually sell their prototype to somewhere. So we do that. So they have to sign it. But at the end of the day, if they really do not want, then they just sign the letter saying that we do not want our thesis to be put online, but you can put in the library. Which sometimes I tend to shake my head because I don't see the difference, putting on the shelf and putting it online. It's just that online is more accessible, on the shelf people have to come. So, but still we have cases like that. The only thing that we do not put in our institutional repositories are things that, sensitive things, like we have got strategic studies where we have got the Army and the Navy studying and doing papers. They actually produce thesis and dissertation. That we don't put because you've got all the maps, all the security maps. Though all those kinds of thesis goes into security, our special collection, yeah? And you want to use the collection, you have to actually get permission and all that, and every year we need to send that list to somebody to say that these are the people who are using it. Okay, anything that is detrimental to the country, we do not put up. We keep a special reserve collection. So 2, 3, 4, these are the library's domain. The librarians are the one who knows this. Yeah? And probably, I do not know whether you have a jawatankuasa perpustakaan. Okay, and maybe members of the jawatankuasa perpustakaan, the library committee, members would know this. Okay, normally the library committee members would constitute a representative from each faculty, plus the librarian, and the deputy vice chancellor sits in the committee as well. So they are the ones who know this. So this is why the library and the librarians are important when you are talking about personalized learning environment. You shouldn't sidetrack them or put them aside. The other one would be push relevant information. Yesterday you were talking about Netflix and all that. Once you have viewed something, then a list comes out. The library can do that. The library management system actually keeps track of the databases or the types of articles or subjects that the students use. And they are able to push this kind of information. Okay? It's called personalized content. So if my domain is information literacy, so I'll be searching my online databases for information literacy. So the system somehow tracks it, and every time something new on information literacy comes out, it pushes the information to me, so I can use it. Okay? So that is known as personalized content recommendation, and this is available in almost all of the online databases that we subscribe to. We just need to activate it. So the library is in a position to actually push information to the students when they want to use it, as they are doing their learning by themselves. The other one is track. Okay, this is, I do not know, because yesterday when I did not have the chance to ask Prof. Trudy about personal data, okay, Personal Data Act, etc. As a librarian, through the library management system, I think Puan Zhu can actually track what are the types of books you borrow, the types of online databases that you access, the time spent on each database, how many times you visit the library, and how long you stay in the library. These are things that your library management system can actually track, but it's up to the library whether they want to activate this particular feature or not. In we do, but the information is highly confidential. Because this to me, not that I'm for or against it, this to me actually impinges on the person's privacy, especially this portion. Okay? But if you are looking, this is a bit not scary, if you are looking at newspaper reports, yeah, when a bomb goes off somewhere, in some country, in some city, the police will actually go to the library to see what the person has been reading, to see what the person has been looking at, okay, to trace the person's activity prior to the event happening. And there are cases where actually they have tracked people, these people looking at making self-made bombs, etc., etc. This is an important component within the library system that the library can actually track. So when the library is able to track this, then you can push information to your personal learning system to actually say that, okay, this person always goes to the library, but how come he is not scoring? Kan yesterday Prof. Trudy was saying that they're trying to track why students fail, why students cannot do this, cannot do that, and then you have the category of students who are good, average, and not doing very well. So you can actually use this data against students' performance or students' grade, okay? But again, use it with caution, yeah? Permission has to be sought from the third party that you are dealing with, that you are getting information and you are using this information. Okay, unless the student waives all the right. This is something that I would say tread with caution, because I forgot to ask Prof. Trudy, how do they go around this when they are taking data from their students' management system to actually track the students' performance and all that. Okay. And the other one would be provide maker spaces. This is supposed to be the in thing. I do not know how this would fit well with with the medical profession and medical students, but with engineering, yes, we provide a lot of maker spaces. Maker spaces are just spaces within the library where you provide the tools. Okay, for engineering, you need all your circuit boards, etc., etc. If you are doing electronics, you have all your what do you call that? All those equipment that you need, and we give them the space for the students to actually create and explore. So they have the project, they want to the project, the library provides them the space where they can come. Having said that, there are also studio or labs, but sometimes they need the library because their information sources is just nearby. So probably we can look at, they are called maker spaces, yeah, and this is a very popular, if you guys, your lecturers are visiting US, go to any US academic library, the good ones, they would have maker spaces. Most of them have got maker spaces. Also in Australia, also in Singapore, NUS and NTU, they both have vast maker spaces where they actually even provide the material and the tools for the students to actually create and explore. Okay. So the library is in a position to do this. Dr. Zhu is Puan Zhu is looking at me. Alamak, my library is so small. But actually, you have to find this. If you have space, then that would be good to have maker spaces for them to actually do what they want to do. Okay. Now, the library's role. So you can see that the library has got the network of people. This would be the students or the academics. So in the students, the library's role here is to impart information skills to the students, information literacy skills. With the system, then they are doing the tracking of the usage of the library materials, and the resources you are talking about, your online databases, your institutional repositories, and your tracking of what the students actually read. So all in all, in conclusion, okay, the library, you have, whoever is going to do personalized learning systems or environment, if I am you, is to pursue this path of personalized learning, then the librarians must be part of the team, because they are in a position to actually provide relevant information and also provide the information sources and also services to actually make this a viable learning experience for the students. Okay. There is a journal for the academics who are interested. I just found this last night. This journal is by UKM. They have got one. The first issue is 2015. The second issue is 2016, 2017. Tak ada apa-apa. In 2018, I think they have got one issue coming up. The articles are good in the sense that it gives you a feel of what personalized learning is all about in Malaysia, within the Malaysian context. Yeah. So it's published by UKM. You just searched this and it will come out. Yeah. The copies are also there. So having said that, thank you very much for, I hope I did impart some knowledge on the understanding of personalized learning and the role the libraries play. That's my email address if you need to get in touch with me. My phone number is with your chief librarian. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Edzan. Now I'd like to invite Haja Zohanaria to present a token of appreciation.